You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Jason Nelkin is here.
Jason Nelkin's here. Hey, everybody.
You let your hair down when the cameras are rolling.
I do, just for the folks at home.
Yeah. Ryan couldn't be here, but Jason's here. And I noticed that. You were looking in the camera and you're like, you know what, man? I'm going to let it down. Dazed Confused, brother.
Well, it's tough to work with when I'm setting things up, but when it's when the cameras are on and I'm all set, it's time to let the hair down and really get comfortable here for another episode of Inside of You.
What's that song? Let Your Hair Down.
I don't know. It's probably a lot of songs.
I'm going out tonight. I'm gonna let it all hang out. Never mind. Shut up. I'm going to shut
Sounds
up.
fun. Sounds like a fun pop ditty.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Jason Ryan couldn't be here today, but it's always a treat to have you here when you are here.
Always a pleasure to be here when I am here.
Yes, that's very profound and
Oh, wow. True.
Yeah. What is going on? We got a great freaking guest today. I'm very excited. If you're here for Carrie-Anne Moss, you're in for a treat. Don't fast forward. We got some information. If you dig the podcast, if you like it, you go, wow, that was a really good interview. All I ask is maybe you give it another shot. You write a review, subscribe, spread the word. A little podcast here, and we could use your help if you really dig it. At Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. At Inside of You Pod on the Twitter. And I think it's a great interview.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I edited it.
I mean, you edited it. You're
That's
the
right.
editor. You edited it. Say that. Say
I
it.
edited it.
I edited it.
I edited it.
I edited it.
I edited it.
Some quick things. The Inside of You online store has amazing stuff. If you're a Smallville fan, it's got so many cool things, Leximus scripts and ship keys autographed and little busts and statues and tumblers. We have new tumblers and shirts and all sorts of stuff. Go to the Inside of You online store. Get some cool merch today. What else? You can also listen to the podcast on anywhere except Stitcher. Stitcher's going out of business. So if you're listening on Stitcher, make sure you subscribe to Apple or something else or watch on YouTube because Stitcher is going down. I don't know what to say. That's it. I will be doing some cons in September. I think we're going to DC, Salt Lake City.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on there. So, and the patrons, my patrons, patreon.com/inside of you. If you want to join Patreon and support the podcast in extra ways, that's pretty groovy. And I'm going to try and do a meetup with the patrons. So if you show up to DC, I think we're going to try and get together for an hour or so just to, meet all the lovable patrons who, without them, I couldn't do this podcast. I've said it before. You listen to it while you're editing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's important. It's like, I didn't know what Patreon was in the beginning. And then now that I've been doing it, I'm like, holy shit, this is
it, baby.
I couldn't do it without these guys. Patreon.com/inside of you. I'll send you a message after you become a patron. There's tons of perks. I send packages to the top tiers. I give shout outs at the end of every episode. All sorts of cool stuff. YouTube lives where I play music and I answer questions, and we're adding stuff to the Patreon. So it's a good place to get to know people. A lot of patrons are friends. All that stuff. My band, sunspin.com. Go to sunspin.com. Gets the new vinyl is out. Our new album, Never Is What It Is. The new vinyl is out. Get one. There's only 100 made. I think we've already sold half of them in a few days. They're badass. We're really excited. We're working on our next album. You could listen to the music anywhere, Spotify, Apple. The band is Sunspin, and we're doing a Stage It on the 29th, I believe, of July.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man. So a lot of cool stuff going on, and more importantly, I'm having fun. I'm trying to have fun and trying to enjoy the experience and the process.
That's what's important.
Yeah. That's about it. This next guest, I was surprised I got her. Kristen Ritter hooked me up at this. She name dropped. I just name dropped. But she's a good friend, and she hooked me up with Carrie-Anne Moss, who I was surprised did it, and we had a great conversations. She's so together. I was really surprised. Not surprised, I guess. I'm not surprised that most people are more together than I am, but it was refreshing, and I think she what is it, goes to the beat of her own drum.
Marches to the beat of her own.
You have to say marches to the beat. Can you say goes to the beat?
I think you could say goes to.
Goes to the beat of her own drum.
Marches is, like dung dung in step.
She marches to the beat of her own drum.
Yeah.
There's a band called The Drums, by the way. There's a song called Money. I want to buy you something.
I love Money.
But I don't have any money. You ever heard it?
The drums? No.
The drums.
Money by the Drums. I can't say I have.
You got to listen to it. I think you'll dig it.
I like money.
You like metal, though, don't you?
I like everything, but I especially like metal.
You do. Do you like Def Leppard?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet. Great podcast today. I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's get inside of Carrie-Anne Moss. It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Hey folks, wanted to highlight something important before today's episode. In case you weren't aware, myself and many of the guests are on strike alongside SAG-AFTRA and WGA. Today's episode and any we air before the strike ends were recorded before it began. So this is just a heads up in relation to some for the topics we may discuss. If you want more info on the strike, visit SAG-AFTRAstrike.org. Now let's get into it.
I mean, is it true that you were named after the Carrie-Anne song by the Hollies? Is that true, actually? Because sometimes Wikipedia, you know.
Yeah, it is true.
I love that song.
Yeah, I was number one the day I was born. I think my mom had, she had another name picked for me. And then she heard the song, I think after she had me, and she changed her mind. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard that song, hey, Carrie-Anne, what's your game now? That's a really good, the Hollies, right?
Yeah, that was a fun song.
What was their big hit? They had a big hit.
I forget. I kind of visualize it on the other side of the record because I
45.
On the record. Yeah.
Oh, it's all I need is the air that I breathe. The air that I breathe.
There you go.
Oh man, I miss that music. I miss the 70s and 80s.
I know, such a good time. We were so lucky.
Yeah. Do you listen to anything now, by the way? Do you listen to any music now, or are you really stuck back in the day?
No, I listen to all the new stuff. I have my daughter is almost 14 and we do a lot of driving together. And so she has some pretty epic playlists and has introduced me to kind of all that new, 13, 14-year-old music, which is very catchy and fun and something I would never have any clue about if it wasn't for her and those long drives. But yeah, I love music. I love singing. She sings. We sing in the car. I think it's, I always say, like, when my kids are singing, I know they're all well. Like it just is like medicine for your heart just to sing. So I love to do that. And I love to do it in my car.
It's happy. Do you sing loudly? I mean, do you act like, if people are watching you, would you be embarrassed if someone was filming you?
Never. No, maybe, probably.
But do you sing well? You can sing well, huh?
Well, I love singing. I don't know if I sing well anymore. I used to sing pretty well when I was younger. I went to a high school in Vancouver where we had like a really, really good choir and band. And so we traveled all over Europe, like singing in all the cathedrals. So I was in like a jazz choir and in all kinds of different choirs. And music was sort of my first love. I always wanted to be an actor, but I love singing. But I don't, I only do it for fun. It's personal,
I always said that too. And I'd rather be a rock star than an actor, or, there was something about it that I just loved, but I always felt like, you're not that great of a singer. You're not that great of a guitarist. You don't sing like Adam Lambert. Don't do it. And then all of a sudden I turned like 45 and I was like, I've always loved this. Why not do it? And the reason why I didn't do it, I think, is because I was always worried about what other people thought and how they would perceive me and how they'd put my music down and how they'd judge me. And then I said, why is that holding you back? And I said, hell with it. And I put together a band and I've recorded 3 albums in the last 3 years. And I'm just like, and I'm loving it. And it's not like it's making a lot of money, but it's something I love. Do you have any passions like that where, you do it and you love it, but you wish that this was what you did besides singing, of course?
Yeah. I have a real passion for wellness. So, if people, I have a detective mind. So I have a tendency to, like when I'm working on a show or something, if people are dealing with some kind of like health issue, like I get really into it. And, I have quite a few friends that are amazing doctors and healers and all kinds of things. So I enjoy that. Like, I think if I never went to college, it never crossed my mind to go to college. I always wanted to be an actor. But if I was to look at kind of what I love now, I might have been a doctor. I do enjoy, like, I've met some really great doctors in my time, in my life, and doctors that really think outside the box and are detective-like and understand, more than just sort of like individual, like, oh, you're going to this person for this thing and this thing, instead of like looking at the whole person, looking at your whole life, looking at your emotional life, all that. I find that very fulfilling, and I enjoy doing that. And I like to, support people, and not that I know, and not that I know what to do, but I listen and I research, and I might offer a perspective that they hadn't thought of. That's happened quite a few times.
Oh man, yeah. You opened Pandora's box, or Pandora. Wow. Well, first of all, you're on the right podcast, because, I think inadvertently this podcast kind of evolved into mental health, and, and I talk about my anxiety and dysfunction, and people talk about death. And Frank Grillo, he's a great actor. He was just on. He talked about he lost his mother and father within a year, and one of his best friends, and how we got through that. And this is something that it's become, and it's helped so many people, which I was like, what? I don't understand. But when guests like you talk about that stuff, because there was always a stigma, with therapy and talking about your emotions. And I think that's getting better nowadays. And it's sort of, but it's very helpful. And I love that you talk about that. And it's funny you say you like helping people on set, because I text Kristen Ritter and I said, well, what can you tell me about Carrie-Anne Moss? And this is her text to me.
Oh.
You ready to be embarrassed?
Yes, maybe.
One of the most important people I've ever met in my life. All the good things I know about are from her. She's the person I go to for mothering advice, health, essential oils. When I'm not doing great, she's a first stop. She's a true friend, like family. One of the greatest gifts of my life has been her friendship. And then she said, there was a day on Jessica Jones on a season where she got a terrible migraine. She was in really rough shape, and she had to work anyway. And you had to work, but you came in on your day off to help her through it and support her and massage her and use your magic oils. I was like, what? I would never come in on my day off. I mean, who does that? That is just like, she says that's just who you are. And I had a feeling when I met you that I'd be like, oh my God, I need someone like this. I need someone. So, because I could just tell right away how calming you are.
I don't know about that. I mean, I definitely have that vibe, and I can have that vibe, but I'm just like every person. I have many sides, and, but I do love helping people, and I have a deep love for Kristen, and I also understand the pressure and stress of being number one on a show and what that takes. And I, being older now, I'm 3 or 4 on the call sheet generally, and it's actually a super great gift of a long career of working hard and putting in all those hours, kind of, it's definitely not as vigorous in terms of, sometimes it is, but in general, I'm making kind of a general assessment there. But so yeah, it was my honor to go and support her. I have 3 children. So Jessica Jones was like a really huge sort of step out of my comfort zone, because I hadn't really left them to work. I worked really not very often, had to be kind of really perfect and in terms of schedule. And if I could bring them when they were little, like I never left them. But it got harder as they went to school. So it was hard to work. It's hard to go away to work.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we're faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. Whether you're dealing with decisions around your career, your relationships, or anything else, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life so you can move forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/inside. This message is sponsored by Discover. Did you know you could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection? The latest innovation from Discover. Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And they'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
And Jessica Jones came at a time and I said, okay, can I do this? Like, can I go have an apartment in New York and like fly back and forth? I'd fly back and forth to LA, like, I don't know, 20 times a month. I mean, I'd just go to work, where I'd show up, work, get on the plane, go back.
How exhausting was that?
It was I mean, listen, it was a real adjustment. I had been living like a life of like being really in a nourishing kind of bubble with my children. Like I love being a mom. And so like, you know, there's a rhythm to that, right? And so I was really like hesitant to step out of it. But I also believe, and I also know that stretching out of your comfort zone and doing things that feel really like you can't do it is so good for you. And I grew so much. And a lot of that growth, Kristen really supported, because like, I know it sounds so silly, but like, I didn't even know like really how to use my phone. Like at that time, like I really didn't. Uber, what? Like, I mean, I really had zero idea. Like I was away, like having kids, and the whole industry changed. The whole world changed basically while I was at home making breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know, and it was like jarring. And she just would like go, okay, here, give me your phone, you know, or it sounds it's such a little tiny thing that she did for me, but she just kind of has this really, like, she's very business minded and she's very, very creative, very professional. She knows how to get things done. And I am as well, but I'd been in this sort of softer kind of nurturing kind of vibe that I wasn't sure how I could do it. And so she was very supportive of that and helped me a lot. So it was definitely, our relationship is very equal in what we give each other. And we care about each other. We've been through things together. You know, it's tough to go to work and have a headache like she had, like brutal.
How did you know? It was your day off, right? So
I can't remember if she texted me or if somebody texted me and told me. I can't remember, but.
And you just came to set. You said, I'm just going to set. I'm going to help her.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
It's what we all need to think about with our lives. It feels good, right? It's not like, it feels good to be supporting other people. It feels good to be supported. It feels good to be part of community. It feels good to be connected to other people and to care, you know, about other people. I mean, it's only a win-win, right?
Yeah. But I don't know, like, are you look, I know you're Canadian, so you're probably in, you know, it's just part of you, because I know a lot of Canadians and they're also such kind people. Like, I'm sure there are bad Canadians, but for the most part, the ones that I've met, there's something calming, there's something sweet, there's something honest about them. I don't know what it is, but is it something that you grew up with? I know your mom raised you, right? Mm-hmm. Was she like that? Was like,
I mean, she's a kind person. You know, my family are filled with kind people for sure. I don't know. And I have to say, like, Kristen inspired something in me in that moment. Like, I knew that she needed that help. And, you just do that when it matters, right?
Yeah. How was it like? What was it like growing up in like Burnaby? Because that's where I filmed Smallville in Burnaby for 7 years. I mean, I guess 10 in a way. But Burnaby is not I'm not putting Burnaby down, but I just know it as like kind of commercial. And maybe I didn't see all the beauty. Was I missing something?
I don't think I saw any beauty. I don't think I saw any beauty. And I think, I live very rural now, and I love nature. And I would consider, although there was a lot of beauty, I'm sure, like I would notice now, but at the time you're a teenager, you're just, you're young, you're just kind of going to school and figuring out how you're going to get out of there. Like, I just remember thinking, I would look at my sidewalk and think, I cannot wait to get out of here. And it wasn't like I hated it or anything like that. And I say that to my kids all the time. Like, that's part of what motivates you to do things in your life, and, like, to have dreams, and, to push yourself out of your comfort zone again, right? To just sort of imagine, like, there's a whole world out there. And so growing up in Burnaby, I think if I look back at it now, I had, I walked to school every day. And I have kids, and they've never walked to school. So it's like school is just not like that anymore. Like, I mean, I'm sure it is, but like, our schools aren't close enough to walk. Although, I walked 45 minutes. Like, I'm not seeing my kids going like, I'm going to walk 45 minutes, or even me saying, you're going to walk 45 minutes. It's a different time. We were latchkey. I was a latchkey kid. That generation of just a different kind of independence, I think, that people of my generation got. And I really couldn't get out of there quick enough. And as beautiful as Vancouver is, like, I've never really wanted to go back and do that, live there or anything like that. I've considered it. Maybe when I first had children, you get really nostalgic about your own life. And then you go back and you see, wow, it's completely changed. It's no longer the way it was. And you can't replicate your childhood. You just kind of bring what you like, leave the rest. So yeah, growing up in Burnaby, I mean, I did have a lot of opportunities that I think is kind of interesting. I'm sure my mom was the one to figure all that out, but I was part of a group that sang and danced all over. And like, a couple of us went on to do pretty well.
When you say a couple of us, who were those people?
I'm forgetting right now. Like, I know I'm completely blanking, but I think there's 2 other women that ended up having really nice careers, but I'm totally blanking now. So that was kind of interesting, because I'm always looking for those kinds of things for like, say, my daughter, and I find it kind of hard to find. But I went to this high school, public high school that, I was, did plays that were like written for our school. I traveled all over Europe singing, in cathedrals with that beautiful acoustics, and just, I mean, going to Europe and never have been. And I remember they gave us like an allowance, like for our breakfast was always included in like the pension or the hostel we stayed in. And then you got like your lunch money, and then we would all come to dinner. So you had your money for lunch, and I took my money and I got my hair cut like really short, like really like cool and short. And like I looked like a completely different person, but I had no money to eat lunch. And I thought that wouldn't be a big deal until I was like really hungry. So then I had to call my mom, and she ended up like, wiring me, right?
How old are you at this point?
I'm like 16.
She's wiring you money.
I'm with the school, right? 16. Yeah, I'm 16. And my mom said that when I got off the plane, she was just like, her breath was taken away, because I had just transformed, I'd just gone out of where I came from, and the smell and the feel and the sound, and it informed me. I just always wanted to like see what is out there.
That's brave though. See, I didn't have the wherewithal or the confidence. I grew up in a small town in Indiana, and I was kind of surrounded by dysfunction. My family was completely, all over the place. And I was just I just felt like this lost little kid. And of course I dreamed of like, oh, this, but I never thought it would ever happen. I don't know how, I mean, and the way it happened was pretty crazy. I won't bore you with that shit, but,
I want to hear.
No, I'll tell you some other time, but it's just like, you know, I couldn't imagine. I remember my dad, I went to hockey camp for a week. And that was just terrifying. It was in Canada and they left me and it was just so jarring, but it sounds like you, probably 14, 15.
Yeah.
And
I know. I don't know. It's interesting, right?
How did you have that? Because were you anxious as a kid? Did you have anxiety? Were you sad kid? Were you happy?
No. I was really, I was born with a very sunny disposition. That's, every picture of me as a baby, as I'm laughing. And I remember just, I'm not saying that I haven't accessed some other parts of the emotional life of a human being, but my early years, I just was somehow, and I think it came from my mom. My mom was a young mom, and like our home was very simple. We didn't have money. It was just, but it never felt like, it just felt cozy and close, and I just didn't struggle with, I was always confident. And listen, I'm not saying confident, like, definitely all that girl stuff that happens, like in middle school, I definitely dealt with a lot of that stuff, but like I was bullied at one point when I was in high school.
What did they bully you about?
I was bullied by about 3 girls who really had an issue with the fact that I thought I was going to do well in life. And I don't even know how I wore dresses and I wanted to be a model and their whole thing was like, I thought I was hot shit. That's what they would write in the bathroom on the wall or whatever. Shit. And maybe I was in I think I was in 10th grade, 9th or 10th grade. And they would follow me down the hallway and just kind of like throw things at me from the behind and like just sort of, just kind of agitate me, And I never went like home and told my mom or anything like that. I think about it now and now that I have kids and I'm just like, wow, I'm kind of impressed of how I dealt with it. One day I was, I'd go in the bathroom, they'd write things in like marker about me and stuff. And I didn't even know them. At lunch break, me and my best friend would sit in the sewing room, like pulling out pictures of like supermodels in the big magazines that you'd do the sewing things. And we'd make scrapbooks and we'd make vision boards. And like, I was like, really, I wasn't like super popular or anything, I was not popular, but I was just kind of like, I was friends with like everybody kind of thing,
Yeah, but you didn't let these girls bother you. It sounds like you just kind of.
Well, no, what happened is that I was walking down the hallway in like a skirt and like clogs, and like kind of, it was probably pink or blue or something they really didn't like. And they were really taunting me. And I remember thinking inside of myself, I would rather they beat the crap out of me right now than live another day with this feeling. And so I turned around and I said, let's go right now.
Wait, you challenged these 3 girls to a fight?
Yep.
And what happened?
They walked away.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
They walked away?
Yeah.
That would never happen to me. If I turned around and said, let's go, I'd be knocked out probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just more getting off on just the power and not really wanting to execute it. Yeah. And I remember like, I was shaking. I was terrified, but I was just like, let's go right now. Let's fight. And I'm in like a skirt, and they're in jeans and you know what I mean? Like, but I just was like, you know what? I can't live with this feeling. Like, are they around the corner? Are they behind me? Am I going to be walking to the bathroom? Like it was this sort of overwhelming feeling that I decided in a moment, I didn't want it anymore. And so if it meant that we had to face it and work it out, And I was not like a fighter girl. I mean,
Right.
except with boys when you're young and you're playing and you're like the girls against the boys, whatever, but yeah, I was pretty brave.
Inside of You is brought to you by Factor Meals. Let me tell you something, Jason. This is true. A box was sent to me on my birthday by Factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what is this? I didn't become a member of Factor. I don't know why they're sending this to me.
Right.
And I was like, oh, it must have been a gift. And then I found out that they're a sponsor, but I found out they're a sponsor after I had one of their meals.
Whoa.
I had this chicken with, it was like a mashed cauliflower, almost like mashed potatoes.
Ooh.
With some broccoli, and it was so delicious. It was so much healthier than any of the stuff I eat. And I was like, why am I not doing this all the time? It's a quick, easy meal. I'm always on the go. And I was like, hell yes. And then I found out, yeah, they sent it to you because they're a sponsor now. I'm like, get out.
Perfect.
This is great. Look, we're in the thick of summer, guys, and you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals to support sunny, active days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with flavorful and nutritious ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. That's what happened to me. Straight to my door. You'll save time, eat well, stay on track, reaching your goals. You got to get some Factor meals. This is awesome.
With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up, too, while getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy, and then you can get back outside and soak up the warm weather.
It's just so fast to have a meal, and it's not like, because I just keep ordering food and wasting so much money on these delivery services that have like it's cheaper to get a Factor meal than it is for a delivery service.
And
for one meat.
And grocery shopping, you often overbuy, and then you just stuff rots, and then you're wasting food.
I never eat everything. This is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Even if they don't give me free meals, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get Factor.
Meal prep is amazing.
Meal prep is amazing. Look, if you're too busy like me running around and all you can do is think about lunch, you go home and guess what? Lunch is right there. And within 2 minutes, you have lunch. You have a good freaking lunch. Effortless, wholesome meals, grain bowls, salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're on the go. No microwave required.
Looking for calorie-conscious options this summer? Try delicious, dietitian-approved, calorie-smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving.
Need an extra boost to support your wellness goals this summer? Try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving.
Head to factormeals.com/inside50 and use code inside50 to get 50% off. That's code inside50 at factormeals.com/inside50 to get 50% off.
And what's great, guys, is they offer a delicious flavor-packed option on the menu each week to fit a variety of lifestyles, from keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, protein plus, prepared by chefs, approved by dietitians. Each meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long while meeting your goals. And Jason, the breakfast items. Look at this.
I love breakfast.
Apple cinnamon pancakes if you want, bacon and cheddar egg bites, potato, bacon and egg breakfast skillet. Or for an easy wellness boost, try refreshing beverage options like cold pressed juices, shakes, smoothies. With Factor, you can rest assured you're making a sustainable choice. We offset 100% of our delivery emissions, source 100% renewable electricity for our production sites and offices, and feature sustainably sourced seafood in our meals.
This July, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess.
Head to factormeals.com/inside50 and use code inside50 to get 50% off. That's code inside50 at factormeals.com/inside50 to get 50% off. You know, I had this did happen once. This guy, I'm gonna call him. I shouldn't say his real name, right?
I don't know. I don't even know the girls' names.
I'll just say it.
Honestly, I didn't know them at all. Like, I didn't know them at all.
Well, I remember this guy's name. Bryce, you could bleep it if you want, but his name was Davey Barnes. And he just would always kind of like you said, he would just like kind of throw an eraser at me or something. And I just, like, what the fuck, man? And I was really small, smallest kid in my high school, and, didn't start puberty till late. Girls weren't into it. I just nothing. I didn't exist, as my brother said. He goes, you didn't, but that was with my family. He said I didn't exist, but I didn't exist really in high school. And I remember after health education class, I had my books, and this guy comes over and just boom, knocks my books out of my hand. And I picked them up and kind of like, I said, Dick. And then the next week I walked out of class and he did it again. And the whole class, I thought, I got to say something. I'm going to do something. And I just immediately went up to him. I go, if you do that again, I'm going to fucking kick your ass. Don't fucking do that again. I just screamed in his face. He goes, whoa, like, calm down. But he never did it again. He never did it again. And he could have kicked my ass, but he just was like,
yeah, I guess it's no longer any fun when the person that you feel power over goes, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not playing this role anymore with you. I'm changing the dynamic. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I don't know. I really didn't think much of it until I had kids and just realized, wow, like that was pretty brave,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Interesting to the dynamic. I think it's a lot different now. But I'm sure people get bullied still. And I mean, online and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah. Was your dad, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it. Was your dad around, or was he?
Yeah. I was raised by my stepfather until I was about 14. And my parents got divorced, but I actually didn't meet my real father until, I knew him when I was a baby, and then was acquainted with him around 14. And then, and I'm close to my biological father now. Like, we have a relationship. My stepfather passed away when I was 27, I think.
Right. Is it?
But I have to say that when I think of my childhood, I think of my mom and my brother and I. That was my, like when you think about your core people, like that's the image that I have in my mind.
Did you have like I'm sure you weren't like immediately like, all right, we're, when you're 14, he hasn't been really in the picture, and you're saying, why weren't you around? Did you have all those questions?
Well, yeah, I think I processed a lot of you process throughout your life, whatever it is. I think a lot of, I don't think I was aware of it. I think when I became, started acting, I think acting is really part of why a lot of us are drawn to it. You really do get to work out a lot of your own stuff through the work, which is kind of incredible. Obviously, it can be hard if you don't have a good groundedness in yourself. But yeah, I think I don't have those feelings anymore. Those feelings of abandonment or whatever, I don't even really remember. And that's what I love about life, right? Is that if you look at any situation in your life that's challenged you, or that you have an emotional agitation toward, you have the opportunity to completely transform it and heal from it. And that's how I've grown in my life, is I've looked at anything negative and felt the feelings, gone through whatever I need to go through. And then I always ask myself, what can I learn? And that's, to me, like a super skill.
Yeah, that really is.
Keeps life real interesting too.
It took me too long to sort of just accept, forgive, and just move on. And I think whether you like it or not, for me, I think that there's still that inner child buried deeply in there that still feels certain things. And then as long as you could pinpoint and sort of, that's why I'm acting like that, or that's why I feel that way. That's not a real feeling. That's because you felt that as a kid. That's not now. And when I was able to forgive, my parents, and sort of through a lot of therapy and EMDR and all other things. But when I was able to do that, it was cathartic. It was certainly something that helped me. And I believe that when you forgive and you could truly get past something, that's the healing. That's when you start to feel better. And, you know, all the things that take over or feel like so overwhelming, like anxiety and depression, all these things, they start to go away because a lot of them are caused by those feelings, you know, that you don't let go and you hold on, and they're just so. Yeah, I understand that. I think that's a beautiful way of looking at it. Like just seeing the bright side of things, and things get dark, and people have a lot of dark shit. But yeah, I think forgiveness is huge. We haven't even talked about your career. Good God. But I like this. I told you. This is what I like to talk about. So you started acting at a young age. Was your mom very cool about it? Like, yeah, this is what she wants to do. She wants to go be a model. When did you know you wanted to become an actor?
My whole life, for sure. Like since I was really little.
What was it? What was it about acting?
Oh, well, I mean, at the time I thought it was just this divine calling, but now I think it was just because I watched so much TV, you know?
Yeah.
I grew up watching a lot of TV, and I think that it just sort of like permeated my being, and I wanted to be a storyteller, you know? I wanted to be a part of telling stories. And, you know, my mom was not supportive of me doing anything like as a young person. Like I was part of these, you know, dance troupes and singing groups, but she said, when you're old enough to do it on your own, then, you know, take yourself to an audition, which is such good advice. And I highly recommend that to people with kids. It's better to wait. And then I just, I started modeling, I guess, when I graduated high school. I wasn't sure like how to be an actor. I didn't know what you do. I never knew. I did know someone who was an actor because at my school, Michael J. Fox went to my school, which is crazy.
Did you know him?
Yeah, he went to my elementary school. Well, he was older than me, but I knew of him. And of course, there are so many Canadian actors now, but at the time, you also didn't know if people were Canadian, right? Because we didn't have Wikipedia, or you didn't know someone's bio or whatever. So it just seemed kind of like I don't know, how do you do that? But my dream was pretty, the fire in me was pretty strong.
Did you think,
so then,
go, continue. Yeah. I always have questions that I'm thinking of, but go.
Yeah. And then I moved to Toronto to model, and I was modeling there. And then I went to Japan and did there. And then I moved to Europe. And I was in Spain and modeling and stuff like that. And then I had an audition when I was in Spain for a TV show, like an American TV show, like a CBS crime time, after prime time kind of. And I got like this little part that was a regular role, like in Spain, like what's the likelihood that would happen? And I was terrible in it. And then the next season was in LA. And so I drove to LA, and, you know, I had no money, no car, no green card, I got my SAG card from that show, and I got a work visa from that show. But I mean, I don't even know how I did it. I mean, how did we even book airline tickets back then? I have no idea, but without a credit card or whatever, like, was I going there with cash and like handing the cash? I mean, I have no clue. But I do know we were calling collect when we called home. And then I came to LA, and I was in LA. That was when I was just turning 25, and I just started working a little bit, just enough. And then I got The Matrix, you know, and
I mean, you did a lot of other stuff before that.
Yeah. I mean, I did TV. I did, you know, I think I was just talking to a friend about this. I did Models Inc. when I was 26 or something. Which was a Aaron Spelling show.
Yeah.
And at the time, you know, like all those Aaron Spelling shows were so big. And I think that probably that show was the biggest learning curve and what set the tone for my whole career, because the show was supposed to be huge. We did publicity before we got into the publicity wheel, before the show even shot a day of the show. And I always thought that was odd. And I never got caught in it, like believing it.
That's good.
And it, it wasn't a successful show. We did one season, and I understood pretty early on that our business is very unpredictable. And I use this analogy a lot. I always looked at our business like a big fat alcoholic, that charming, great, fun, but don't rely on it. And so I always had that attitude, and not in a negative way, but in a very kind of like, I never really thought about how a show was going to do, or a movie was going to do, or if it did really well, like I enjoyed it, but I didn't buy into any of it, because I know how quickly it just like, it's this, right? It's
boy, are you lucky?
That.
You're lucky that you had sort of that subconscious, I don't know, insight or whatever.
Yeah. Really grateful. It really served me really, really well.
Yeah. I didn't have that. I was like, this is going to be huge. I know it's going to be great. It's like it bombs. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Why this bomb? Is it because of me? The reviews are bad. I thought this was going to make it. There's all those things. So it's amazing at that age that you could say, okay, you kind of learned from that show that, hey.
Yeah, I learned that. That was school for me. I mean, I think of life as school, right? We're in school learning about so many different facets of life. And that was really amazing. Like I remember when The Matrix came out, and it was really huge, and I was with some friends. We were in like on a vacation somewhere, and I really don't ever really do that. So it was kind of a big deal. And a few of the friends were like in the business, and were calling the phone line to find out the numbers. Like I didn't even know there were the numbers. Do you know what I mean? Like I certainly didn't know that you called some line to get the numbers, and they're telling me, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you weren't excited, or you were just like,
no, I just didn't really buy into it.
Incredible.
I think the only time that I got really excited about it was I went to a theater that wasn't a like premiere theater where, the applause and stuff like that, like half the people in the room made the movie. And so it's really hard. It's not a gauge of, the truth. And I went to like Hollywood, went in to see the movie with an audience, like a real audience. And the response that floored me. That just floored me. And especially the lineup. Hadn't seen that since I was a kid, going to movies and stuff. And then, within the first few minutes of the movie, with people completely cheering for the character that I played, I was just like, that moved my heart in a way that felt really amazing. But it wasn't like I was looking outside of myself for that validation. I just felt so good. And then to see all the conversations and stuff that people would have. And yeah, it was really cool. But I don't know. I just don't attach myself to the outcome or the end result of anything, because you just don't know. You don't know. And as soon as you start to, get your self-worth from those kinds of external things, your world becomes so difficult. Whereas if you stay in yourself and you know that you're enough, whether you're working or not working, whether your movie did great or it didn't do great. And the other attitude that I always have, and maybe this goes back to the first story about Kristen, is it matters to me the impact I have on an actual set, as a human being, with the crew, with the cast. For me, if I look at every job that I've done, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you much about what it's about. Or, I mean, obviously Matrix and Memento, probably, some things, of course, because I've had to talk about them so much. But what I remember are the relationships I had with different crew members, different things that happened, babies that were born, family members that died. Like, those are the things that I remember when I watch an album. Oh yeah, I remember that day that happened. Like,
Carrie-Anne Moss
matters to me.
You are an anomaly. Do you understand this? No, I'm not. You are an anomaly. I am the opposite of that, and have tried and have improved where I didn't get that validation at home. I didn't get that love. I didn't get that unconditional feeling that, you had, that you carried with you. And so I looked for external things. I looked for, if I got this part, I'm good. It must mean I'm good. Everybody likes me. My agents are happy. People are happy. And then it's a success. And then, it's part. Okay. But it's like, I always say it's like,
and I had moments. Listen, I had moments of that too, especially in the beginning. And I just decided pretty early on that was a really shitty way to live.
Yep, it is.
And so and to be honest, I would have people that didn't really believe that this was genuine, like what I'm talking about, because maybe they hadn't seen it. But I believed that if a job had my name on it, it was mine, and that I had to show up and do the work. But if it had your name on it, then that was your destiny. I brought this sort of larger view. Not only because it felt good to do that, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle the rejection and all of those things if I was holding on or, I'm a very competitive person, but I'm not competitive in that way. If I want a job, I want to get that job, but adding this layer of faith in my journey, it just makes everything, it makes you so much more relaxed when you walk into the room. It makes you, because I've gone into rooms really wanting a job and thinking, it's going to I need the money and people will think I'm good. And, all those things, it doesn't feel good. So I just was like, okay, so I want to do this. I'm here, I'm making enough money, and I'm so lucky. I'm in that small percentage of people who are actually making enough money to pay my bills. And I don't have to have another job yet. But how am I going to actually do this and keep doing it? And I was like, I'm going to have to crack this code. I'm going to have to crack the code that if I'm on my couch and I'm not working, that I know that I'm enough. And that was not easy to do, but it became the work.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
that
amazing.
helped.
Yeah,
helped a lot.
I would say. Do you, I know you probably talked about this ad nauseum, but was The Matrix the most difficult job you've ever, it had to be at that point, but physically, mentally, the amount of work, was it something you didn't expect in terms of preparation? You were like, I couldn't imagine the amount of work it actually was when you first signed on.
It was such a joy. Every minute of it was such a joy that I think I did tougher movies that were low budget in the winter in Toronto, cold and no, you know what I mean? Doing nights, that's hard, right? The Matrix, of course, it was so much work, but we had so much support, which I had never had before. So we have, you have your trainer and you have somebody making your food and you've got a driver and, Keanu and I became very close through that process. He was very supportive and Lawrence was super supportive, and Hugo, we had this family relationship that supported us. So I never think of it oh my God, that was hard. I would go to work even when I didn't work just to watch, because I didn't want to miss any of it, because I was I've been watching Keanu or Lawrence or Hugo practicing that fight for 4 months. I got to go see it. I got to see what it looks like. And this was pre being married and pre having children. I can't really do that anymore because I'll do it occasionally if there's something that I really want to see, but in general, I don't go to work anymore.
But
I'm not working.
For Resurrections that just came out, which is freaking incredible. How much harder, if you look back when you were you were younger, when the first Matrix came out, how many years ago?
I was 30. Yeah.
And now doing this, how much harder for you to tackle this immense project?
Again, we had the support and I was just so excited about doing it. There was a lot of mental preparation that had to go into some of the action, the actual physical action. I didn't do a heck of a lot. So, it was different. But I was just so happy to be a part of it because I just didn't see that coming. I think of myself as pretty intuitive. I have really good, senses. And like, that really shocked me.
Yeah.
And people were always saying that they thought that it would happen. I was like, no way. Like, that is never happening. So I was really shocked.
Did you really have 3 hours of an audition process or training for the audition for the original Matrix?
Oh my gosh, I had way more than that. I think I did about 6 auditions for that. And one of the pieces of the audition was 3 hours of fighting, was action. One part of it was getting with the Wire team, the Hong Kong team masters. And they would just sort of go through the motions and, videotape the person and just, punching, kicking, doing this, doing that. And I remember, it always made me laugh that the directors said that when they got my video, they were like, every time they would kind of cut back to the guy that I was fighting, he was patting himself up more and more and more. So I was actually hitting the guy. And like, I didn't know about like, hit. I mean, I don't know how to do that. So I was just, I could not walk. The next day I had an acting audition for it. It was going to do like the screen test with Keanu, and I was with the directors, and I'm sitting in the chair doing like one of the big scenes of like waking him up, I think, at the end of the movie. And I did it one time, and the directors, I think it was actually my birthday, my 30th birthday. And the directors asked me if I could stand up. And I said, I actually can't, and you think about it, right? You're up for a big movie, you do anything, right? Like, I actually couldn't. Like, I was in so much pain in places in my body that I didn't even know, like, that you had muscles there, it was intense.
Wow. Did you know that? Was there someone else in the running with you?
I mean, I didn't know. I mean, now you hear everybody was up for it. It's like kind of funny. My husband will go, "Oh, so-and-so said they were up for it." I didn't. I wasn't privy to any of that. And they let me know. I think they had like a week to tell me after the screen test. You sign everything, like just like if you're doing a series or whatever, right? And so they had a week to tell me, and then come that Friday, they asked for another week. Because I think they really didn't want me, and I think the directors were really fighting for me. I really didn't think I was going to get that. Like, again, though, I trusted, like, if my name's on it, my name will be on it. Like, how great it is just to, have the auditions. And I met, Keanu, and we had such a lovely connection. And I just felt like, wow, this is turning my career, whether I get this or not, because I'm experiencing something that I have never experienced. And that energy I'll take with me to the next thing or whatever. I really did not think in a million years that I would ever get it.
Yeah. I was
completely shocked.
That's amazing. I worked with Keanu, and I did a movie called Sweet November, and I was in drag, and I worked with him for a couple of weeks, and every day. I honestly, when people ask me about Keanu, I'm like, I have these videos that I still have that I've never even watched again, of like us on set, and I'd come in and drag, and I go, "Hello, Keanu," and he'd be like, "Hello, how are you? Good to see you." And I was like, and we would talk about stuff, and he'd, he'd tell me about the movies, and he was just like, He's such a great guy. Like, I'm not even sugarcoating it. It was like, I had nothing, his work ethic, like he just wants to be the best that he can be. And he wants to put as much into it. And that's, I only worked with him 2 weeks. You've known him practically 20 something years. And like, I mean, you've probably said it a million times, but what's the one thing that you think of when you think of Keanu?
Oh gosh. I mean, he's such a good person. And, good person seems so silly. He's so thoughtful. He really supported me through that process. And we were definitely partners in the evolution of that journey. And I couldn't imagine it any other way than, he just was so supportive and such a good friend. We still are such good friends. And, he's really thoughtful and he works really hard. So you have a vision of the bar.
Great, Carrie-Anne. That's great. I appreciate
know,
that.
you do these things with someone, you go through things with other people, and that, whatever it is, right, in our lives, with friends, with colleagues, with family members, good, bad, whatever, it informs you and impacts you. And yeah, he's definitely impacted me in a very positive way.
Was it overwhelming working with Christopher Nolan on Memento? Was that?
Oh, no, not at all. That was he was such a gentleman, and he was that was such an incredible, as an actor, that was my favorite job I've ever done.
Oh yeah.
Because that feeling that you have, which I have felt in acting class, but is very hard to get between action and cut, where you forget that you're acting.
Yeah,
it's
it's rare.
Really tough, and it's like I've maybe had it, I would say, on screen like 2 or 3 times. It's that fleeting, right? It's that fleeting. Where you forget you're just in it. And he created that energy. And I really love that. Like Trinity, for instance, I love her. It was challenging to play her because she's so still. And every movement, it's like, you know what I mean? It's so upright. It's so,
centered.
There's this quality of stillness with her that isn't really my, I had to put a lid on every little thing, and at the same time access the life, right? And that's, at times I would feel completely like just the mark on the floor, just the T that we stand on. I would feel like that was jail. You know what I mean? I just was like, can I not have a T? I literally, it was like that. Can we take the middle T out? I'm already confined enough. I need the mental bandwidth to channel something. Right. And of course the directors are so brilliant and the shots are so brilliant, but with Memento, and as I'm moving my body, I can just feel how free I felt. There was a freedom in the acting that I really enjoy. I like that. I love 70s, 80s movies, right? I like that naturalism and that
a shot that holds the actors and lets them breathe and act, and it's not so many cuts.
Right. I love that.
Me
I
too.
love the breath. I love the moments. I love not knowing what's happening. So I really got to have that experience with Christopher Nolan, and he was not intimidating. That's a word I would never imagine to use for him.
I love that. That shows you the confidence in a director when they're it doesn't have to be this. I want you to feel what you're feeling.
He really stepped back. He created the environment, and then Guy and I just were dancing. It was really fascinating. He did all that work on that really great script, and then really allowed us the space to have the freedom.
I love Guy Pearce.
That's how I felt anyway. Yeah.
I love Guy Pearce.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's the best part of LA Confidential. I think he's the best in everything he does. I just am engaged, and I'm straight, but I think he's hot. He's a hot
great.
guy.
He's an amazing actor.
He's
very good. I remember at the time, and not that it matters, right? Awards, who cares? But I was really surprised that he didn't receive that for those kinds of accolades, because he was so good.
Yeah, he always.
Who knows how all that stuff
You've won a
works.
lot of awards, by the way.
Huh?
You've won a lot of awards.
Who did?
You.
Really? Yeah. I've won a couple of them, but and I won one for that, a Spirit Award, which I was completely shocked about. But I think about it now, and I'm like, why wasn't he there? That's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, we know how all that stuff goes now, and
yeah. Do you have awards? Do you have awards at your house, or do you just not even?
Yeah, I got a few, and I kind of don't know what to do with them. I was actually, the only reason I'm actually thinking about it right now is because I have an office up here, and I was it's kind of it's a loft space. It's really got a great vibe. It has no door, and it's kind of tricky. Like you hit your head like on the wall, on the ceiling a lot. And I have a lot of books. Like I love books. And I have a few of these awards, and I was like, what do you do with them? Like, where do you put them?
I got my Saturn award up there. My friends make fun of me. They're like, yeah, where's your Uranus award? I'm like, shut up. All right, bad joke. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Carrie-Anne Moss. These are my top tier patrons. They just ask quick questions. It's rapid fire. Nico P., what was your experience like on the TV show Chuck? I just talked to Zach, and I go, what do you have to say? He texts me, goes, she's insanely talented and gorgeous, and I completely geeked out on that show when she arrived.
Sweet. I had a lot of fun. Again, that was a job that a job was shot in LA, and it was the first time I'd gone to work since I'd had kids. Like it was sort of like a tryout. Like, could I do it? I went to work and I was like in shock. Like everyone's on their phones, right? On the set. Like I just literally felt like I had stepped into like the weirdest. Like the whole world changed. But that was fun. I enjoyed that. He's really talented.
Yeah, he's
Yvonne,
great.
So good. Yeah, that's great.
Leanne, who was the one person that believed in you when no one else did, and have you ever paid it forward?
Well, my mom has always believed in me. And I have to say that anyone who didn't gave me a gift because it fueled me. Yeah. And have I paid it forward? I hope so.
Yeah, I think you're paying it forward right now, talking to me, telling me about all these things. I just want I'm like, oh, maybe the first thing I could do selfishly is go, I think Carrie-Anne Moss can help me. Okay. So you're the founder of Annapurna Living, right?
Yeah.
And which is so cool. It's a lifestyle brand designed to empower women through mindfulness, meditation, and devotion. How often, how much do you work on that? And what do you do? And is there anything that we can do out there? Is there like the organization to donate, or is it just kind of just informing them how to live a better life?
It's a labor of love for me. I actually have offerings that I do. Like I've done different courses. I'm doing sort of a monthly, yearly thing right now, which is all about crossing thresholds. I let what I do there is something that I do sometimes in the car while I'm waiting for my daughter. I make videos. I've made a lot of content because when I was, having my kids, it started out kind of mother-centered. Now it's not so much. It's just really more woman-centered and about like connecting to yourself and not looking outside of yourself for the answers and not thinking like somebody else is going to like tell you how to live your life, that you have all the answers, like just bringing women back home to like knowing that they're enough and that no one else knows them better than themselves. And that, yeah, you may need support and help here and there, but ultimately, if that support and help is not helping you to go back home into your own self, then it's not really helping. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we have conversations on different themes. I've done this for 7 years. I hold a monthly call, kind of like a circle. Now I do it only 4 times a year, but I did it every month on the full moon for almost 7 years. Even when I was promoting The Matrix, like I had all these women and we would just talk about like the messiness of life and like, listen, I don't have it figured out. I'm not an expert, but I'm sure like into like exploring, and we use poetry, we use writing prompts, just to connect. Because the life is so distracting, and there's so much pull from the self and into like all these different, labels and like you did that and arguments and like sides. It's like, we need people who like are connected to themselves. And when you're connected to yourself, you know what you need and you know how to show up. And so that's what I do. And it's been a real labor of love for me. It's made me grow a lot, and making all the videos and stuff, and holding space. I love to hold space for other people's growth. Not because I know the answer, but I know how to hold space. And I love doing that. So it's something that I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid of that. So I've just, I decided when I started Annapurna Living that I was sort of tired of like being hired for a job, that I wanted to produce my own stuff. I wanted to make my own videos. Like My videos in the beginning, like, were with my iPhone on the kitchen floor because it was the only quiet place with terrible lighting. And like, and I'd go, oh, that's really, that looks kind of crappy. And I was like, that's the myth I want to bust. Like, that's what I want to, like, like I do a video because I taught meditation a lot in the beginning. I don't really do that anymore. But I'd be like, oh, I should really redo that and get into better light. And I'd be like, I don't want to lie. And then, women would comment, oh, Carrie-Anne looks really tired. And I just wouldn't even engage in that conversation.
That's freaking so awesome.
Like, I refuse to engage in the conversation and just get people used to seeing like real people. Like, I'm a householder, I'm a mom, I'm making this video, in my living room or wherever. I don't have, I'm pushing the button myself. I'm editing it. I didn't edit it because I don't know how to do that. But, my one person that works with me,
I love that.
I didn't want it sleek. I didn't want it to look great. Like, I just wanted it to be like real.
But that's what it always is. That's what, you spend your time on, you don't, but proverbial you on Instagram, and you're looking at these things and, oh my God, that's beautiful. And look at that. Look where they are. And it's all the sun and the lighting, and oh my God, everybody's got a better life. And it's like, stop. Live your life. It's all a lie. And by the way, even if it's not a lie, it's not yours. It's not your life. Live your own, make your own life beautiful. That's what I keep trying to tell myself.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was in Cannes and Matrix was at Cannes, and I was pregnant with my first son, and I'm at that really fancy Le Cap hotel or whatever, and I remember being there and going, well, this is really pretty, but this is not what makes a life. And I looked around, throughout my years in Hollywood, and I know really great people. I've had such a blessed experience in Hollywood with people that I've met and my experiences and everything. But I was like, being successful and having money is never going to, heal those places inside. And of course, it's so cliche. We know that. But I was like, I can't wait to go home. And I think I left that press junket early because I was really pregnant. I just needed to be home, and and it wasn't like I was there going, oh my God, I'm freaked out. It's this or that. I just could see through it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not impressed by all of that. It's lovely. I love a good hotel. I love a good bed in a hotel. I love, a coffee being brought to me. Like, I do love all of that. But if, your actual life, like, if you can't find the joy in the mundane, you're totally fucked. You're totally fucked because most of your life will be mundane. So I decided I was going to love that. And I do. Like, I love the mundane. That doesn't mean there aren't times when I'm like, I have to unload the dishwasher a fucking another time. Like, right. But then I go, okay, this is my life. Loading the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher, making the dishes, cleaning, doing, driving, working, flying, organizing. All of these things are facets of my life. And I consciously decide to enjoy that. And I have little tricks that I use to encourage that way of thinking. And I've been committed to that.
Can you email me those thoughts?
Sure.
Look, I'm not going to keep you anymore. This has been so amazing. You're the real deal. And honestly, in the beginning, you hear, people you interview and you talk to, and you're like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't. And you're like, and then, but after talking to you, it's like, this is who you are. And it's such a beautiful, it's just a beautiful way to be, to live. And I think everyone should try and do that. I think you're real. You're as real as it gets. Kristen said it. And it's so much insight you don't even know that you gave me. Like, it's therapy for me, but like for people listening, I could sit here and ask you, oh, what's the number one thing that you would say for mental health, or what would you do? Well, there's a lot of things you could do. One is disconnect and meditation. And I really enjoyed this. This has been a real treat. You're a treasure. And I'm so glad you made this happen. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best. And
Yeah, you too.
and maybe you're on Instagram and all that, right?
I don't actually. I have someone that manages that. I don't enjoy Instagram at all, I have to say. I was on there recently because a friend of mine is kind of going through something and we're raising money for him. And I was kind of looking at it without the sound and without even reading. And when I was on Instagram a few years ago, it was people take pictures and write. Now it's just like talking, people are talking. And I'm not even listening to the words. I'm not even reading, but I can feel the frequency of it is really, really low. And affecting, because I believe in frequency and energy, how toxic that is. And I'm seriously, like, I have no idea what anyone was saying. They could have been saying the most incredible things. There's just this manicness, right? Because you're scrolling from person to person. I do have a presence there, but I honestly, I don't do it. And of course it would really help my Annapurna Living if I would do that. But at this moment in time, it's like everything I'm teaching or sharing, because I don't consider myself a teacher, but everything I'm sharing is the exact opposite. So it's kind of tricky. Like, how do you promote something where you have to go into the portal that's actually creating this dysfunction to start with?
Yeah. Did you say portal? Did you say portal?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. I get it.
I can't quite reconcile that with my integrity. And yet I do have a presence there because, and I'm not saying that I won't go on it. I'm not trying to be like holier than thou. I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find different ways, doing podcasts are great too. I've been on lots of different podcasts. I do enjoy talking to people and I would rather do that kind of thing than it's interesting because at Annapurna Living, what I'm saying is that your life is not for sale. There's nothing to buy, right? So how can I sell something, market something that is just basically telling someone there's nothing you need to buy to be better?
Wow.
Including my course or anything I'm doing. Like, you have it in you. So, I'm finding my way. It's fun. It is a labor of love.
Well, keep shooting on shitty quality.
Thanks.
Keep it real. And you definitely don't look old. So that woman, you should block her. And when this comes out, I'll send you stuff. And if you want to post it, great. It's just good I just think it's good for people that, all that stuff.
I'm just not really good at all that stuff. Kristen's great at it. I'm a little bit more
I don't know how to do half of it. And I'm going to slow down because I think it's going to help me. You're the best. Thanks for...
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Have a great day. Thanks for having me.
There she was, Carrie-Anne Moss. Carrie-Anne, I just want to say thank you for being on the podcast. I think you're terrific. You're a wonderful human being and a wonderful actress. And thank you for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Fun times, Jason.
Great times. Fun times.
If you didn't listen to the intro, go back. There's tons of information about where I'm going to be. I'm also on the Cameo. Join Patreon. Patreon.com/inside of you. Patreon.com/inside of you. Become a patron today. I'm about to read out the top tiers of the patron. They get their name shouted out at the end of every episode. That was a really wonderful episode. So thanks for listening. I've been having problems with my dog, Charlie.
What kind of problems?
My puppy. Well, I think he's got separation anxiety. He's been fine. He's never chewed up anything except a nibble on a pillow or, little things that I'm like, all right, he's a dog. I don't,
Sure.
I was downstairs and I heard him whining. And we were just downstairs. I was alphabetizing my DVD collection. Who has DVDs? I do still. And I came back up probably 30 minutes later and he had chewed a whole piece of the stair carpet off.
Insane.
And then, I didn't, obviously I don't hit my dog, but I yelled at him and I put his face in it and said, no. He saw the mess everywhere and he felt shame. And then, I thought that'd be the end of it. I sprayed bitter apple on it so he wouldn't chew it again. And then I went out for 2.5 hours. I came home and he had ripped up the rest of it.
Wow. Determined to destroy.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure what exactly to do. So I'm going to get a trainer involved. And,
you can't have your puppy destroying your house. It just doesn't.
No, I gave him a home. I gave him a wonderful home to live in. I treat him like a king, and He shits on me.
What does he do?
He shits on me. But, they're puppies. What are they going to do?
What are they going to do?
Yeah. And you can't punish him an hour later when he doesn't know what the hell he did.
No, they can't exactly think too rationally.
I hate that excuse where it's like, he doesn't remember. His brain is the pea. I'm like, no, he knows what he did. He still feels shame. He's in the corner going, looking at me like,
no, they know.
Are we cool? Are we cool?
Yeah, they have the same look, humans.
Yeah,
do.
you know what you did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go for that. I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, don't come over to me. I don't want to touch you. I'm not petting you right now.
Unfortunately, you can't have a prolonged discussion about it with him where you really break down how it hurts you.
Yeah.
Because
you really hurt my feelings.
Ultimately, the brains are peas.
I work hard to make this house look nice so you could live in it. I give you endless amounts of toys and treats.
Yeah.
Hope you didn't hear that. Anyway, thanks for listening. All my love. Jason, thanks again for being here.
Great to be here. What can I say?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Great to be here.
Yeah. I know a little secret that we talked about before, but I won't say anything about you and your life.
Oh, shit.
I'm not going to mention it.
Okay.
Your girlfriend won't listen.
No. Well, maybe she might hear me editing this.
Oh, yeah. So we'll stop now. What was that about?
I'll tell her.
Yeah. Thank you. That's about it. We're going to give the shout outs.
Shout outs.
These are the top tier patrons. These are folks that give extra to the show, which makes it possible for me to do the show. Here they are. I love you all. Nancy D, Leah S, and Kristen K. They're now a duo. Usually it was just Leah S and Kristen K. Now it's Leah S and Kristen K. I'm sure one day Kristen will go, I want to be first. Hey, Kristen. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Little Lisa. Hi, little Lisa. Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Nico P, Robert B, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Joshua D, Jennifer N, Stacy L, Stacy's mom. We did this last time.
Stacy's mom has got it going on.
Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike E, L, Dan Supremo. Hi, Dan. Hi, Mike. Janelle. 99 more. Has always been there. Santiago M. Where's my statues? I love you, buddy. Chad W, Leanne P, Maddie S, Belinda N, Dave Hall. Hello, Dave. Nice to see you, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Dave.
What's up?
We love you, Dave. Sheila G. Not to be confused with Sheila E. Brad D, Ray Harada, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Angel M, Rhiannon C, Corey K, Dev Nexon, Michelle A, Jeremy C, Brandy D, Yavor, Joey M, Eugene and Leah, Corey, Jake B, not Jake Busey, Angela F, Mel S, Christine S, Eric H, Shane R, Andrew M, Tim L, Amanda R, Jen B, Kevin E, Stephanie K, Jorel, Jam and J, and Leanne J, Luna R, Mike F, Stone H, Stonehenge, can't forget that, Brian L, Kendall L, Meredith I, Kara C, Jessica B, Kyle F, Marisol P, Estevan G, Kaylee J, Brian A, Ashley F, Marion Louise L, Jason Nelkin, Romeo B, Veronica Q, Frank B, Jen T, Nikki L, April R, Cassie B.
I'm not on the Patreon, but thank you to those who
You're
are.
not a patron. Could you imagine you giving me like money every month and you work with me?
Twisted.
That would be weird, wild stuff.
Weird, wild stuff.
From the holiday world, from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, I am Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Jason Nelkin.
In here for Ryan Tears.
In here for Ryan Tears.
Yes. We'll wave to the camera. We love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. Did you say be good to yourselves? Or
be good to yourself. You're talking to the viewer.
Be good to yourself.
Yeah.
All right.